7 o'clock, now time before the morning watch.
Those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move. US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, reactions to the new proposals re the Firearms Act. In the second watch, when persons forget to remember children locked up in vehicles. On social media question we ask, what kind of circumstance would probably and unfortunately cause you to forget a child in a vehicle for hours? Please share your responses on our Love 101 Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's, I quote,
"Life isn't a matter of milestones, but moments." Rose Kennedy.
Well said. Good morning, Roshane.
Morning, Dr. Toussaint. Happy to have you back. How was your holiday yesterday?
It was
church day. You're a pastor, so you don't get holidays on Ashwins. Yeah, I'm just putting your leg.
Right. It was reflective, and meaningful. Nice. How was yours?
Well, I was at work. I was here at Love 101. So
I realized.
The rest is
and you seem to have done a good job for the Ash Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
Activities.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The first watch will be back after this break.
First thing you do when you wake up in the morning, do you roll over and hug your partner, or do you grab your phone and start scrolling through your social media or checking your emails? It's so nice we have to do it twice. So join us this Thursday, March 3 at 5:30 p.m. inside the Truly Marvelous program to have and to hold for a rebroadcast feature of ways gadget addiction can affect your marriage. That's the Truly Marvelous program rebroadcast feature this Thursday, March 3 at 5:30 p.m. with host Colleen Beckles and co-host Dylan Toussaint right here on the family station, Love 101.
I need some information about my NWC bill now.
Want to know how much water you used?
Yes, I want to know my usage of at least 6 months.
Just log on to the NWC's customer web access portal at nwcjamaica.com and you can get account information up to 13 months. You can also get your payment history.
So I can access the iPay section for pay my bill too?
Yes, it's convenient. Click and connect with the NWC customer web access portal. Try it now.
They mix it party with the nice color. You come alert and tell them any party. Color party. And if you want to find some cheese, I'll just make locations island wide. Conditions apply. Color party.
Big Tax Mart, the stack
tax season. File and pay your final income tax return for 2021 and estimated return for 2022 due on March 15 with tax support in so many ways using our web services, customer service center, 888 tax help, or special taxpayer assistance program. Tutorials available online at jamaicatax.gov.jm. All income tax returns, including individual, must be filed online and on time. Pay taxes your way. Tax Administration Jamaica, changing the way we do business.
Connect with Enjoy all your favorite apps and more on Jamaica's fastest network. Activate the Prime Brata bundle for as low as $175 by dialing
Star 147 number sign from your Digicel phone or in the My Digicel app.
Connect! Alright, connect with Brata. Digicel Prime Brata. Data can't done.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, a new firearms bill was tabled in the House early February 2022. And while there are those who hail this bill as a definite step in the right direction, there are those who believe it will not sufficiently deter the perpetrators. In this, the first watch, we are facilitating some other reactions to the tabling of this new firearms bill. And so to discuss these and other related issues, we have online Ms. Nicole Gordon, attorney at law, and Mr. Robert Finzi-Smith, security expert. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Yes, I think I hear Mr. Finzi-Smith. Good morning, Ms. Gordon.
Good morning.
Good to have you both with us.
Good morning, Dr. Good morning,
Great.
Mr. Finzi-Smith.
Morning, ma'am. How are you?
Yeah, Mr. Finzi-Smith, let me begin with you. Before we delve into the meat of our discussion, anecdotally, sir, how serious is the gun running in Jamaica today and the proliferation of guns from your perspective?
Yeah, I think that could be called a facetious question.
give me a good answer.
These things are held to be self-evident.
Yes.
It's a very serious matter as results of investigations have proven over the years. They didn't get smaller, they got bigger.
Mm. And in terms of the entire nation, would you say there are guns all across Jamaica, or it's centered in particular parishes and areas of Jamaica?
That's a thought process that's an interesting question. Tell you why. If you're following like this trial, Klansman trial in the press, you'll notice a certain trend where they have named certain weapons that they have discovered forensically as against those that they have actually captured, and discovered that they have been used in various crimes. So it could lead you to the feeling that these weapons are being rented. So you could find that the same weapon is being used in, say, a Manchester shooting. And the next time you see it lift its head, it's in St. James. It still brings us to the question of impression. You know, you get the impression there's a lot of guns.
Yeah.
But if you're still finding the forensic results showing that the same gun is being used a lot of times, it makes you wonder.
And what
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
What What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the mornings? Do you roll over and hug your partner? Or do you grab your phone and start scrolling through your social media or checking your emails? It's so nice we have to do it twice. So join us this Thursday, March 3 at 5:30 p.m. inside the Truly Marvelous program to have and to hold for a rebroadcast feature of ways gadget addiction can affect your marriage. That's the Truly Marvelous program rebroadcast feature this Thursday, March 3 at 5:30 p.m. with host Colleen Beckles and co-host Dylan Toussaint right here on the family station, Love 101.
If you want a place for just chill and hold a vibe,
A place where you can get some good belly burning laugh.
a beer joke a keep, and deep discussion about life.
Make sure you don't miss Come Make We Draw Long Bench with Shivani Blair.
Every Friday at 9 p.m. during Fellowship Fridays.
Mrs.
Massa, it's not normal.
And we're sure you will enjoy it plenty.
So come, make we draw a long bench the next time Friday I keep
At 9 p.m.
right here on the family station,
Love 101.
We bench them in gun, dear child.
Everything make the universe operate the ring. Give me a bite to chance, open my bite to sing.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. We apologize for that break. And in this, the first watch, we are still discussing reactions to the new proposals, read the Firearms Act. And I believe we have online Mr. Robert Finley-Smith, security expert, and Miss Nicole Gordon, attorney at law. Are you both there?
I am, yes.
Okay. Miss Gordon?
I'm here, thank you. Yes.
Okay, right. Ms. Gordon, in a nutshell, what is your understanding of the recently tabled Firearms Act and the objectives behind it?
Good morning again. My understanding of the objective or objectives behind it, I mean, it's called the Firearms Prohibition, Restriction, and Regulation Act, and I think it's pretty axiomatic. It is about dealing with current licensed firearm owners, as they put it, and those using prohibited weapons, and fundamentally, as Mr. Finley-Smith had indicated before, when he was talking about the facetious question, it's to address the sort of plethora of gun crimes that we have. We're told that a significant number of our murders, I think we said 85% of the murders are as a result of guns or involve the use of guns. And so there's an idea that through this legislation, we can help to deter the criminal activity through the use of guns by, in particular, one of the more far-reaching aspects of it is by increasing the penalties for the breaches of prohibited weapons.
Right. And what are those penalties, Ms. Gordon, as far as you understand it?
The main one that has been put forward, as I understand it, is increasing the minimum penalty for the use of prohibited weapons, making a mandatory minimum of 15 years if the person is convicted of the illegal use of firearm. So that's one of the main ones, certainly one of the main ones that's being touted, and that is being seen as far-reaching because it's coming from 5 years. So we're adding on a decade to the mandatory minimum.
Yes. Well, say more on that, because what does that mean in real terms? So, for example, if somebody is found with a firearm in his or her possession, what does that mean in real terms?
Well, what it means in real terms, and I must preface by saying that I don't practice criminal law, but I'm an attorney at law. So it means in real terms that if you are arrested, of course, first of all, in the first instance, and you are convicted, meaning that sufficient evidence has been put forward in court to the standard of proof in the area of criminal law, which is beyond a reasonable doubt. So if there's sufficient proof that's put forward that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that you have in fact used this prohibited weapon, the judge dealing with the matter has to give you a minimum sentence of 15 years. So the sentence can't be less than the 15 years. I should say that it can go up to life imprisonment, for example, if there is a murder involved and not just the use of the illegal firearm. But they're not at liberty to go below the mandatory minimum. I know, for example, there is some circumstance where somebody might be arrested and they may be...
Can you hear Ms. Gordon? We just hold that thought. You're up on a break. We'll be right back.
I hear you. Yeah.
Chunky, spicy, and delicious. Let's Go Mackerel. Get hooked on the tastiest mackerel around. The time by Let's Go Mackerel is...
It is now 7:16 right here on the family station, Love 101.
Get your business going with a DBJ Serve loan. Utilize a DBJ recovery line of credit to grow your business or a Go Digital loan to digitize your operations. Borrow up to 800,000 Jamaican dollars with a Go Digital loan or get a line of credit for up to $10 million. Contact us today, 888-438-5627, WhatsApp 876-295-1298, and follow at JN Bank on social media.
Conditions apply.
JN Bank Small Business Loans. We'll help you find a way.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life.
The following is a message from the Ministry of Tourism.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's #1 industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry rebounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attraction, entertainment, transportation, and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
The preceding message was brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism.
Connect with data to do whatever you like with the new and improved Digicel Prime Broader bundles. Get lots of data for streaming and sharing with more data for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and more. In other words, your data can done, even if you have to hotspot a friend or two. Enjoy all your favorite apps on Jamaica's fastest network. Activate a Prime Broader bundle for as low as $175 by dialing *147 from your Digicel phone or in the My Digicel app. Digicel, made in Jamaica.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in the second part of the first watch, we continue to look at the Firearms bill that was tabled in Parliament recently. We have online Mr. Robert Finley-Smith, security expert, and Ms. Nicole Gordon, attorney at law. Ms. Gordon, before the break, you were telling us about the 15-year minimum sentence and other things. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I had mentioned that there's a 15-year minimum sentence. I mean, overall, I think that it is an improvement. I do think that it will make the legislation more robust if it is passed. I think in very general terms for me though, more has to be done, because the initial question that you asked me was what is the purpose of it. And there's something I always say, which I think is important. Fighting crime is different from solving crime. I think it's an important crime fighting tool, but then there are things that come before that. So you have to actually catch the criminal first. You actually have to have the intelligence to prosecute the criminal successfully before you even get to the matter of sanction. And those holes, we have to address those issues, because if we don't, then this matter of fighting the crime will really be at risk. And the solving the crime now is a completely different issue, because we do have to work on the social structures that breed and facilitate and create this culture that we have. So I do think the legislation is an important tool. It's really a part of our arsenal of crime fighting tools, which is an important one. But there is so much more that we have to do in order to address this issue.
Mr. Finley Smith, your take on that, this 15-year minimum sentence?
Well, first and foremost, let me say I agree with my learned friend, a context in which I just put it, because there's a very old saying, how do you make a French omelette? First you get the egg. You have to start somewhere. Now, all minimum sentences and the rest don't matter if you don't have the criminal, one, caught, two, proven guilty.
Yes.
But I go a little further. The average gunman you're running into runs from 15 years old up. I give a 15-year-old a minimum 15-year sentence. When he comes out, he's 30, still in his prime. So I don't think that's a deterrent.
Oh, but you're against the 15-year minimum?
Yes.
Okay. So
I think it should be 25 years minimum.
It should be
also 25 years. You made a choice.
Wait, you're not being facetious by that?
No, I'm being I'm as serious as a heart attack.
25 years?
25 years minimum. I catch you with a firearm that's illegal, considering the nature of what we are going through. 25 years minimum.
Including the same 15-year-old that you mentioned a while ago, Mr. Fee?
Yes, man, especially him.
But let me ask, if I may interject. May I?
I am flabbergasted. I can't. But go ahead, Ms. Gordon. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, sorry, were you finished, Mr. Finley Smith? Let me allow you to finish first.
No, let me just finish one point. And then
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
You see, you can't play with stuff and then say I'm not getting the result I need. On top of that, if you get caught with a gun and there are additional charges of which you're also found guilty, there are two words that you need to be very mindful of: consecutive and concurrent. This habit of, he got a total of 40 years to run. He got 10 here and 10 there, but they will run concurrently.
Yes.
No, they must run consecutively.
25 years for a 15-year-old. Are you true, Mr. Finley Smith?
Sir, I've been shot 3 times. The first time I got shot, it was a 14-year-old. They view you. If you want, let me just tell you this as I give room. If you run into somebody of that age with a gun, you're in trouble. If you run into an older person, they have a slight understanding of the value of life, and they're still shooting you, but they may or may not. A 15-year-old thinks that you're a part in a video game.
They're ruthless.
Or they have no compunction.
All right, let me get a response from Ms. Gordon toward that 25 year minimum that he's proposing?
Thank you. I don't see the 25 years happening in the context of how sentencing occurs now. And there are guidelines to sentencing. So I hear Mr. Finzi Smith. I really don't see where there will be an uptake on that one. But I understand why you would say that, Mr. Finzi Smith. And quite frankly, I have been held up at gunpoint. I haven't been shot. I'm very thankful because the gun was in my face. And I can say that it's an extremely terrifying experience. I don't know what it would feel like to actually be shot. So I do see the need for the legislation, but I want to bring in 2 points because I think Mr. Finzi Smith has raised a very important point about our youth. And I think that this is where a big part of the focus needs to be. And I mentioned this matter of fighting crime against solving crime. Because what Mr. Finzi Smith, I believe, is touching on is the fact that there is a large cohort of our young people, in particular our young men, that form a steady stream for our gangs. A steady stream.
Yeah.
And my question is, one, what are we doing to address that? That's one. And two, this matter of age again, and I don't know that the answer, Mr. Finzi Smith, lies in sentencing. Our level and rate of recidivism in the country is high. The likelihood of that young man, even after spending 25 years in jail, going back to jail, even after the 25 years, is high. So it can't be that the answer is to give him 25 years because we're seeing, even from this trial that's happening in the court under the suppression of criminal groups, the anti-gang legislation, what we're seeing is that the activity is happening even when you're in jail. A lot of the phone calls, a lot of the recordings that we've heard in relation to the legislation have occurred while Mr. Bryan was, he's in jail, while he has been in jail. So
Allegedly.
It can't be that alone is the answer. So we have to look beyond that and find what will really help and what will really solve the problem that we're having.
But Miss Gordon, before Mr. Smith comes in, is it that you're against the 25-year proposal by Mr. Smith vis-a-vis the 15-year proposal? What is your take on that in terms of the minimum sentence?
I don't have a problem with 15 years. I think it's fine. I wouldn't say I'm against 25 years, but I think 15 years is sufficient. I think we need to look at the real issues. That's the point that I'm making.
Okay,
whether it's 15 or 25, the real issues won't change unless we address them.
Mr. Sorry to have shocked your sensibility.
That's okay.
But you see, I'm a practical human being. My thing is very simple. We need room in which to operate to cure a lot of the social ills that have created crime. You ever wonder why people write on walls? They need recognition. Our family structure is non-existent. So the gangs have replaced that family structure. When I put you away for a limited amount of time, you have gone on holiday from the family. You may have gone to a resort where you learn to be a better criminal, which is why the numbers tell you that a lot of these people are repeat offenders.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is very, very simple. I need room in which to do this, and until you can tell me that the Jamaican penal system has upped its game in terms of rehabilitation, all he's doing is marking time until he's older. So if I can't cure him now, if there's no rehabilitative process that makes sense.
But then,
so while that's happening, I have an immediate problem. So I lock away the problem. That this now comes across. This is down a notch from the Prime Minister's declaration of kill them.
Well, Mr. Smith, we only have half a minute. What else should and could be done than what is being done already?
Aiding and abetting is a crime. The sentencing guidelines for people found guilty of aiding and abetting these young men with weapons should also go up, which would be little things like, if I shocked you before, let me send you into crack somehow.
No.
If I find that gunman I need in a house being given succor by you, the house is forfeit.
Wow. All right. Okay. See, we need to have a part 2 to this. We want to thank you so very much for joining us, Ms. Gordon and Mr. Finzi Smith. We apologize for the technical issues we're having earlier. Have a productive day and a safe day.
Thank you so much. And same to you, Mr. Finzi Smith and Dr. Toussaint.
Thank you. Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Now with no processing fees and no down payment, it's time to open the door to your own sweet home. The time by JN Bank is
7:31 right here on Love 101.
You work hard to make Jamaica a first-class destination. Isn't it time you receive the 5-star benefits? Retire smarter with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, a portable plan that also provides your family with financial security in case of your untimely death. It's easy, affordable, and accessible online. Retire and relax with the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. Visit twps.myguardiangroup.com or call 876-927-4105. Guardian Life. Live secure. Live easy.
We are the crazy attack. You see me, means a real G, real go-getter. My life move non-stop. So me have to stay link and floor yard and road. And my connect and one plan link me up at home with Wi-Fi and on my mobile with data and calls to any network. At my yard, non-stop streaming my vibes. I studying from a picnic them and out the road. And non-stop vibes, same way. Flow connect me non-stop for as little as $3,999 a month plus GCT. I forget it. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on JN Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. JN Bank will help you find a way.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the mornings? Do you roll over and hug your partner? Or do you grab your phone and start scrolling through your social media or checking your emails? It's so nice, we have to do it twice. So join us this Thursday, March 3 at 5:30 p.m. inside the Truly Marvelous program to have and to hold for a rebroadcast feature of ways gadget addiction can affect your marriage. That's the Truly Marvelous program rebroadcast feature this Thursday, March 3 at 5:30 p.m. with host Colleen Beckles and co-host Dylan Toussaint right here on the family station, Love 101.
He knows my name.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of global crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church.
This is a reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
He knows my name.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, CARICOM is saying that sanctions against Russia rest with individual nations. Also in the Gleaner, 19-year-old and never gone to school. Daughter of poor Westmoreland mother has club foot and seizures. And then we see in the Gleaner, box juice racing takes to digital highway. What? And then in the Observer, home at last. 20 students back in Jamaica from war-ravaged Ukraine. Welcome back. And JCDC extends deadlines for 2022 competition. And we see here that Shaw, I'm believing that that's Mr. Audley Shaw, pledges improved JUTC service for 2022. Those are some of the major stories in our newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What kind of circumstance would probably and unfortunately cause you to forget a child in a vehicle for hours? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for another exciting show inside Alive 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, March 3? I know I am. Join us for another time to recollect and reconnect. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock. More fire, more power. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past. We continue our history lesson series as we do a recollection of World War II. Then at 3 p.m., we go proverbially speaking, Poverty Part 2. Don't miss the opportunity to make your input. All this and more will come your way inside Alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This Throwback Thursday with me, Sarah, and the Chirpy One on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's join Roisin for a look at how our Facebook and YouTube and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. What kind of circumstance would probably and unfortunately cause you to forget a child in a vehicle for hours, Roisin?
Well, there's somebody here that says temporary insanity. There's a voice note. I'm not sure if it's related. I'm gonna play a bit of it. They didn't put the hashtag Morning Watch, but if it's not it, bear with me this morning. All right.
Good morning, Roisin. Thank you for that lovely devotion.
All right, that is not for the Morning Watch. That is for another thing. All right, so
another thing.
that's for a devotion. All right, so go ahead, Dr. Toussaint.
All right, thank you. Temporary insanity. I want to thank that person who responded to the question. Okay, as we segue into the second watch, the headline: 4-year-old student dies locked in a teacher's car. And that was the heartbreaking definition of anyone's worst nightmare headline in the Gleaner on February 25. But it was no nightmare, and it was not a lone incident, because we heard of a similar situation weeks before. Why do these things occur? And what are the possible social implications? What are the psychological explanations, as well as the legal ramifications? Well, to answer these and other related questions, we have joining us Professor Wendell Abel, consultant psychiatrist, and Mr. Andre Earl, attorney at law, QC. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning.
Dr. Toussaint. Good morning, Dr. Abel. Morning. How are you doing?
I am great, man. Giving thanks. Good to have you both. Let me just delve right into it. Professor Abel, especially since the death of a toddler in the back of the father's car weeks ago, the phrase forgotten baby syndrome has come to the fore. Can you tell us what does that mean and why does it occur?
Okay, well, firstly, I don't agree with the term forgotten baby syndrome. Because syndrome is suggesting that's an illness. It is not. And I hear comments from persons on social media that it's temporary insanity. It is not. It is an incident, forgotten baby incident. That's how I would like to put forward. And it's, let me just do it on a very simplistic level. It's no different from us, from somebody being in a car and they lock their key in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Or you're in your car and you left your computer in it. Didn't remember to take it out. And when you return, the car is broken and your computer is gone. Yes?
Yes.
It's no different from somebody going to work and you're working throughout the day and you forgot that you left your lunch in the car or you have not eaten lunch. Yes? So let me explain it a little bit more. So what happens in these incidents is that person would have left a baby, a child in the car and not remembered. And people may ask, how could they not remember? It's a child, it's a life. But it speaks to how the brain works. There are many areas of the brain, but there's one area of the brain that controls thinking, remembering things, and so on. And that would have helped you to remember, a baby is in the car. But there's another area of the brain which controls our actions, our motor activity, right? So when you jump into a car and you start to drive, you're not thinking. Your foot is on the accelerator, brake, and steering, doing many things, and you just go on automatic, not necessarily thinking what you're doing. Yeah?
Yes.
And in this situation, the motor area of the brain takes over. Yes? And you may ask, under what situation could it take over? Take over in situations where persons are accustomed to a particular routine. So interestingly, we have seen two cases shortly after each other occurring during the pandemic, right? And it points to the fact that people are under stress, one, under severe stress. Two, it's about routine. It's, because of the pandemic, because both of these involve children, and in one instance, a child being taken to daycare, another one, teacher taking a child from school. Because of the suspension of face-to-face classes and activity, a lot of people been staying home, children been home. So we're not accustomed. We've lost that habit of transporting children, right? So in these situations, people it's just the motor part, the action part of the brain took over, and you just never remember, a child is in the car. Yeah? And,
okay. Stick up in right there,
yes.
Professor. And of course, when you mention the two incidents again, we use the word allegedly because it's being investigated. Mr. Earl?
Yes.
Yeah, what is the law of the land in relation to such tragic occurrences?
Under the Child Care and Protection Act, the person who is an adult, meaning 18 and over, who has custody, charge, or care of any child, and a child is defined as someone under 18, and where that person willfully neglects that child, then in such circumstances, if they neglect the child in a manner which is likely to cause that child to experience unnecessary suffering or injury to health, including death, or any limb or organ or mental derangement, any damage to any of those, or anything which causes any kind of debilitating condition to affect the health of the child, as I said before, including death, then that person commits an offense. And that person is liable on conviction, on indictment in a circuit court, to a fine or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years, or to both such fine and imprisonment. And on summary conviction before the parish court, to a fine not exceeding $1 million, or to imprisonment with hard labor for a term not exceeding 3 years, or to both such fine and imprisonment. This is in addition to the fact that the person could be charged for infanticide, depending on the age of the child, and also for manslaughter.
What?
So, yes, there could be those charges. Of course, that would be in the purview of the prosecutor, depending on the circumstances of the case. Yes, I guess it matters. The question of gross negligence and the circumstances will determine whether or not that is something which warrants a particular charge in the given circumstances. So it's a very serious matter.
Yeah.
And we know that both in the two cases to which you made reference.
Wait, okay. Tell you what, Mr. Earl. We're up on a break. Hold that thought, please. We'll be right back.
You're tuned to the Morning Watch. Is now 7:46. There's another comment that came in. A change in one's schedule can be the cause. So you guys can add your take on that after the break. This is Love 101, the family station.
Do you operate a business in the manufacturing or agro-processing industry? Sagicor Bank has a loan just for you. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Borrow up to $50 million with up to 12 years to repay. Financing you can use to retool, expand, improve efficiencies, or gear up for export. Speak with a business banker today. Sagicor Bank Manufacturing and Agro-Processing Loan. Just another way Sagicor Bank is taking care of business. Conditions apply.
Your taxes hold the key.
Get online this March 15. File and pay your final income tax return for 2021 and estimated return for 2022. All returns should be filed online and on time with many options to pay. JamaicaTax.gov.jm, direct funds transfer, NCB online banking. Be tax smart. Pay taxes your way. Tax Administration Jamaica, changing the way we do business.
The following is a message from the Ministry of Tourism.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's #1 industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry rebounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attraction, entertainment, transportation, and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
The preceding message was brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism.
Giselle,
Connect with Brata! Theater Enjoy all your favorite apps and more on Jamaica's fastest network. Activate the Prime Brata bundle for as low as $175 by dialing *147 number sign from your Digicel phone or in the My Digicel app.
Connect! Alright, connect with Brata. Digicel Prime Brata. Theater can done.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are in the second half of the second watch as we are discussing the whole matter of persons forgetting to remember children locked up in their vehicles. We have online Mr. Andre Earl, attorney at law, QC, Professor Wendell Abel, consultant psychiatrist. Mr. Earl, before the break, you were telling us about the legal perspective.
Yes, and I just wanted to mention that when I gave you that outline about the breaches or offenses committed under the Child Care and Protection Act, or the whole matter of offenses committed under the Offenses Against the Person Act, for example, infanticide, as I said, or, for example, manslaughter, I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not talking about any particular case.
Right.
Right. So it just depends on the circumstances under which the death occurs. And that, of course, is a matter for investigation. So, but both cases, the two to which you referred, the Shalane Dobson case, that's the 18-month-old in January in Black River, and the Jardine Clark, the 4-year-old in Rollington Town. Both very, very sad cases. And I agree with Professor Abel when I was thinking about it. I can envisage situations where somebody really who breaks their routine could fall into that kind of situation.
Right.
And when you look on the number of deaths in that way, they call it hot car death, that occurs in the United States, for example. All of the instances when you read about it, it's about somebody who has broken their routine. One parent who doesn't normally take the child to daycare breaks the routine, and that's what happens. That's why they recommend, for example, that you should put something in the back seat to remind you, like your cell phone, or take off your left shoe, they say, put it in the back seat beside the child. So you'd have some way to remember when you're coming out of the car that you exercise caution. Look, as they say, look before you lock. Because once you go out of routine, this can happen to anybody. Once you break routine.
And if I may add, it's something that happens to us all the time. You know, you intend to stop to drop off something at somebody's home. Yes? You jump in your car to go to work. And then your motor part of your brain takes over. And before you know it, you're at work. You didn't remember to drop off the package. It's because it's about routine. Right? You didn't remember to to drop off the package because you were just following your routine, your motor part. You don't think about it, you just keep going. And I'm just saying this to just add to what Counselor said, right? And also in response to a comment that was made. But I also would like to pause to extend my condolences to the families who are so affected, because I know it's very painful, it's very difficult. And I also would like to appeal to us as fellow Jamaicans and citizens not to be so judgmental, yes? Because this could happen to any of us. But for the grace of God goeth I, and just to any of us. So, we just need to just show understanding, empathy, and care, and not to be so harsh and judgmental. Because sometimes when the people read the comments, it traumatizes them further. So, appeal to us. We're a loving, caring people. Let us be caring, loving, and supportive and understanding.
There's a mother, Dr. Toussaint, in the United States, Christina Reeves, who lost her child, and in a similar fashion to what we are discussing now. And as a result of that, she created what is called Ray Ray's Pledge. She used to call the child Ray Ray. And she pledged that going forward, she would use all opportunities that she got to appeal to parents, because she too was described as an attentive parent, as was her husband, and the husband in that case is the one who left the child in the car. And it's when they went to lunch in the middle of the day that she said something about how the child looked pretty that day going to school in her tropical outfit. And the husband got quiet and said, go back to the office. And she said, what's happening? And then as he spoke, he said, I don't recall dropping her off at daycare.
My goodness.
And so that's what happened. And so she created this, and there's an app. Just wanted to share it with you, available for the phones. They call it Mom, I'm Here. It's a Mom, I'm Here app, which you can download on your Android phone to assist in reminding you, gives you alerts and reminds you of the fact that you have to take the child here or you have to pick up the child there, as the case may be. Well, we have to use the technology as well to assist. But it's a very sad situation. I want to join Professor Abel in extending condolences to all the families who have been affected.
Right, and so say all of us. But back to that point you're making a while ago, Mr. Earl. What happened in that case?
What happened in the case was that the parents, they had this 1-year-old.
No, not from that end. Sorry, the outcome.
The outcome. The father was held and was questioned, and it went to several courts, and eventually, I think the prosecutors didn't proceed with the prosecution of the father.
And I'm asking
at
because
one point was questioned and faced criminal culpability.
Yeah, I'm asking because I know we can't predict the future, but in the two cases that we have, though similar, different in other respects, and of course, all these are allegations.
Yes.
How should that be approached from a legal perspective, both the prosecutor and the defendant?
Well, my understanding is that right now, certainly in relation to the file from Black River that has been passed to the DPP already, so it's awaiting a ruling from the Director of Public Prosecutions in relation to the second one from Rollington Town, that's the Desto Bennett Basic School. That one is still under investigation. Superintendent Tamily Chambers, I think her name is, she has said that is still under investigation in the Eastern Kingston Division. And at the end of that process, that too will be handed over to the DPP for a ruling. But you see, in these situations, of course, facts matter, the investigations matter, and that is why one has to be very careful and restrained before passing any judgment in the particular circumstances. Though, of course, based on media reports, the two incidents appear to be different. That's all I would say.
Yeah, right. Professor Abel, what do you say to someone caught in this situation? You prefer to call it incident?
Yes, I prefer to call it, yes.
Forgotten baby incident. Yeah, what do you say to the family?
Well, it depends on the situation, and I'm not speaking to any specific situation now. But first of all, we have to acknowledge that it must be painful and difficult for persons, right? Because it involves the loss of a human being, a child. And they also have to face the harsh comments sometimes from the public and the judgment and so on. And it must be difficult, and I would encourage individuals like this. If it's difficult, make sure you talk through the issues, express your feelings. Yes, to whoever you have close to, your loved ones, friends. And sometimes it may be difficult to discuss with people close to us, so you may want to seek professional help so that professionals will help you work it through. And I would also say to the person that if you know that it was not willful, and based on reports I've seen in the States, it's turned out to be like that, not commenting on the Jamaican situation, people have to just sit and just be compassionate with themselves and just remind themselves that, look, I did my best. It was an error. I just did not remember. And you just have to do that and just console yourself and reassure yourself. But at best, I say, seek professional help, because a lot of time people arising out of this, people end up grieving badly, which is normal and natural. But the grieving may even move on to depression.
Right.
They find that they're having depressive symptoms, not sleeping, crying a lot, feeling bad about themselves, having difficulty concentrating, and they should seek professional help.
And Dr. Toussaint, if I may just come in quickly here, because I know we're out of time. I want to share that it doesn't happen with just children only. I'll leave you with a humorous anecdote. An aunt of mine years ago was doing surgery, had the surgery done at Spanish Town Hospital and was being transferred to the University Hospital by ambulance. Ambulance driver took off, put on his siren, left Spanish Town, went all the way up the boulevard, got to Dunrobin, turned left, went through Norbrook, Cherry Gardens, and came around on Old Hope Road, siren blaring all through this entire journey. reached the university hospital, locked up the van and walked out. Forgot her in the van.
But the lady in the vehicle?
Forgot her in the ambulance.
My word.
Locked it off, stitched off, and gone about his business. After all of that, it happens. I mean, fortunately, she was in a position to assist herself and so on. But I've never forgotten that story. So it proves what Professor is saying. You can really forget.
Well, we're totally out of time. Totally out of time, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we're sending a signal to everybody. Please do everything you can to remember not only the babies, but the
look before you lock.
All right. Thank you.
Look then lock, yeah.
Okay, bless you. All right, listeners, for information or to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I'm Dylan Toussaint, handing you back to Love in the Morning with Roshane Douglas.
Remember, update your status in a real life. Go HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes say your status clear. Real long life our story.
The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is
8:01 right here on the family station Love 101.